going on, fellow rogues? It's Masquemare here, and once again I got another unboxing video for you guys. I'm really excited about this because I've been wanting a VR headset for quite a while, but at the same time I am a little bit more apprehensive about this as well as excited, but that's for reasons that I'll be explaining later on in this video. Also, aside from an unboxing video for this, I'm going to be doing an off-screen comparison of its performance in both standalone as well as PC tethered mode, given the fact that Oculus Quest 2 can be connected to a PC. Okay, so we're doing a new perspective. This is something I've never done before for any unboxing, so if this actually works, I'll do the same for future unboxing videos as well. I just want to try something new compared to when I did the Fan Gamer one, as well as in the past when I did Loot Crate unboxings. Also, I want you guys to keep in mind that the arm that I'm using for my phone, since I'm recording this from my phone, is prone to shaking. It's not really most stable, so please just hopefully you can overlook that, and I do apologize. It's just the best I can come up with as far as this video is concerned. Okay, so there's like some kind of little pull tab thing. I normally see these kind of things on electronics. What's this do? Well, so much for using my knife. That's actually pretty nifty. Like, okay, I've never seen this before. That's actually pretty awesome. Slow ASMR pullback. It's not really my thing. And it's, why is it stick? Alright, just get off my arm, please. Okay, there we go. Alright, so anyways, let's see here. Crack you on open. Okay, I actually like how the boxing actually looks right here. Hold on, let me read this one. So, nice little instructions right here. And as we can see, this is the Oculus itself. And honestly, the headset's actually smaller than I thought it was going to be. But, yeah. That's it. Move lenses left to right to find the clearest view. Okay, so it's like it's really firm, strict nylon. Okay, and that's off. So, yeah, also for the little ASMR purposes. Okay, so it seems like they definitely went like all out with making sure to have like, get off me. Once again, what? Like so much static electricity. Okay, so that was the headset, and now to get out the controllers. Like I said, this is one of the things I'm honestly feeling like this might be like take the most to get used to. Also, more pull tabs. But like really, like kind of like just feeling it right here. It does remind me a lot of like a Wii remote, but at the same time, it's been like years since I had an original Wii. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, this might like take the most getting used to, but I mean, at the same time, that's like all the fun about like, you know, trying out like new like electronic and stuff. And it says right here this is a glasses spacer, which I myself personally don't wear glasses, but my friend Mac, who's wanting to try this out, he's unfortunately spectacally inclined, so I think this actually is a pretty nice little thing they added in for those who so obviously I wouldn't know how it works or whatever, but I guess let me see. I would assume it'll go in, like, I guess it would kind of go in like this, like, per se. Get this little, nice little box out. I mean, I just like how this logo is so simple, but at the same time, it's also so cool looking. I don't know, I've always just like, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's like, I know what product I got, thank you. Okay, I guess it's like the instructions. Okay, reference guide, Oculus Quest 2. That was fun. Alright, reference guide. God dang. All right. So, quick start. Okay, so they reference the pull tab, which I'm really excited about. Yes, trust me, I know I'm going to get to do that again, and I can't wait. And finally, the last thing looks like it's in the box. I don't think there's anything up under here. Okay, yeah. So it's got like a charging cable right here, USB-C type. And I think from what I looked up, like this particular cable right here, I think is only solely for charging purposes. Looking at it, I think I would say it's probably about maybe 2 foot to 3 foot cord, give or take. But I already came prepared for this. Cause like I said, I want to use the Oculus Quest 2 tethered to my PC, mainly because I want to get like some most probably like, you know, what I'm gonna be focused on getting for VR games is gonna be through through Steam instead of like the Oculus Store. But at the same time, also the benefits, for those who don't know, the benefits of using Oculus Quest 2 tethered to a PC is supposed to be based around, like, increased performance, aside from you being able to just, you know, get stuff off the Steam library, like, and aside from, like, the Oculus Store and such. But what I did was, I picked up this cord right here. I don't exactly know how the performance for this is going to be, but what I saw reviews for it is that people were saying that it actually got them a really stable and good increase in performance. And this was only like $15 on Amazon. It's a 10-foot cord compared to the $60 15-foot Oculus official cord. I'm going to have both of those linked in the description of this video. So if you want to like take a chance with trying this one out, I'll be explaining like how this worked for me during this video. But if you want to take a chance on trying this one out, again, like $15. And at the same time, if you want to like splurge a little more and go for the $60 Oculus official cord, I have a link for that one in the video as well. Like, honestly, this is like hands down probably one of the most, you know, premium cardboard boxes I've ever seen. It's like, I think it was like, I really feel like it was worth like the money just for this awesome box as well. I mean, I love this. This is like sturdy cardboard. So this very absent-minded and I'll admit somewhat cringy unboxing portion of the video out of the way, I'm gonna be taking the time to go through and try out a few things with the Oculus Quest 2. Like, namely, I'm going to be testing out, like, apparently this came with a few demos. I'm going to be trying those out off screen. And I'll also be, like, trying everything in regards to, like, PC tethered mode. And mostly, like I said, aside from, like, some demos, I'm going to probably, like, try out the Netflix app on this as well. Like, see how the actual video performance for watching stuff on this goes. And then I'll get back with you guys afterwards to kind of give you guys, like, my input on, like, you know, how good this is. So, catch you in a little while. Alright guys, so here we are 5 days later. Originally, I was gonna go in and try to do something else with the Quest 2 that night and finish the video then, but I decided I wanted to go through and pick up a few more games and try out some other experiences with it. And so now I have like a much more in-depth rundown to go through on this video. So for my very first experience with VR, this has definitely been an absolutely phenomenal experience. And after I cut things off the other day and immediately started trying to test out the standalone mode for the Quest 2, the first thing I did was I downloaded the demo for Superhot VR. I also picked up Beat Saber's demo as well as Epic Roller Coaster, both which also gave very unique experiences. I also picked up this app called Big Screen, which pretty much allows you to book like virtual showings of movies for that you and your friends can watch, but also, which was the main purpose that I picked it up for, you can use local files from your computer to watch stuff on your Quest 2. So in regards to each individual experience, I'm going to give you guys like a kind of a brief rundown on each of them. So Superhot VR, like I said, that was pretty much like the first real in-depth experience I had with the Quest 2, and I feel like it was actually very accessible, considering the factor that for those who aren't familiar with Superhot, it has like a very minimalistic graphic style. Like, it's very minimalistic in that it's only like stark contrast of like white and red, with like the occasional showing of black whenever like you pick up like something like a weapon to use on your enemies. So when I played Superhot VR, I had like really no motion sickness, even with like just how much was going on with this game. Like with Superhot VR, compared to how it is on the consoles and on Steam when you pretty much just use a joystick to aim at your enemies, this one was different because, you know, considering the fact that you're literally using your own arms to aim and throw and so on and so forth. So with Superhot VR, I really do feel like it was a really good jumping on point for VR for me, considering the fact that with the graphics being so simple compared to games like The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners and one of my Steam games, which is called Rise of Insanity, it really didn't cause any kind of issue with motion sickness, because I feel like a lot of motion sickness problems with VR users is because there's so much going on around them. With Superhot, definite, you know, difference considering like everything was so minimalistic, even with like how in-depth it is with you doing stuff in the game. So with my experience with Beat Saber's demo, unfortunately there was only like one song you could play, and I've yet to get the full game of it yet, but to me I feel like that was also another decent entry-level experience for those just starting out with VR. Aside from all the flashing lights and everything, like, the one song that they did have on there did still give me and my friend both a workout when we played it, but really, it still wasn't like extremely overwhelming in regards to everything going on visually around you. Now, given the factor that, like I said, I had like it was very limited experience with Beat Saber, I can't really say too much about it since it was just a demo of it, but it still is something I can see the reason why so many people have, you know, widely acclaimed it as one of the top VR titles to get. So in the near future, I'll definitely be picking it up when I can. Epic Roller Coaster, that was another one, yet again, that I feel like is a great jumping on point, because you didn't really have to do anything with this one. Like, in this game, it literally was just emulating you riding a roller coaster. Experience with this was limited in the sense that I only think I had like 2 roller coasters to really kind of toy around with. But otherwise, it definitely created that feeling of G-force that you get when you're riding a roller coaster. Like whenever I was hitting loops, it definitely kind of like was making my stomach drop. So I feel like that's a really good experience, but considering the factor that for those just jumping on, with VR, I know I keep on saying that, but again, this is kind of like a beginner-friendly review of this whole thing. I just like how they had multiple options to where you could put like a helmet on your avatar, so that way, if you did suffer motion sickness, it'll kind of give you like something else to kind of concentrate on and kind of like drown out the rest of the environment. So it'll make it where it'll be less stomach churning experience overall. So with Epic Roller Coaster, like I said, it was very limited in the content that was on it. I mean, it's kind of like it was a demo, but at the same time it wasn't, because you could buy more roller coasters for the game, like right then and there, like depending on if you want to get them all at once or just like get one or two at a time or something like that. But there was only like maybe 2 available for me, but both of them were pretty awesome experiences, and overall I definitely will in the future be purchasing more of the roller coasters to try out. But if you do get this game for yourself, I definitely would suggest playing it standing up, because that gives like a much more in-depth experience to actually feeling like you're on a roller coaster. Now, as I said, big screen isn't necessarily a gaming experience. It's more along the lines of sort of like a social style movie theater experience. Basically, what you can do with big screen is you can book tickets to go and watch movies with your friends, but it also, again, like the main purpose I use it for, allows you to use a local file transfer thing. So again, the fact that, we had this whole pandemic going on, it's probably like one of the most in-depth experiences I could say. It, really kind of cuts it close to it actually being at a movie theater. But there's other templates they have in the app, aside from you being able to emulate being at a movie theater or a drive-in, you can also set it where it looks like you're at like a home theater. So for me, I was like kind of like experiencing watching, the first Lord of the Ring movies, Fellowship of the Ring, inside of a retro movie theater, but then I went to a drive-in, to watch the 1957 run of the Spider-Man cartoon series. It also is pretty cool, the fact that you could even emulate having like a bag of popcorn in your hand, and they also have it where you can emulate like a cup of soda, which I even like tested out by drinking that soda I had it next to me in real life, and it really kind of did bring the experience of actually drinking a soda in a movie theater. So, in regards to just entertainment purposes and the realm of just watching movies, I'll definitely say pick up big screen. It's free, and definitely was one of the top experiences for the standalone apps I downloaded for my Oculus Quest 2. So the reason why I'm sectioning this off like in a standalone versus PC mode is because I want to show you guys some of the experiences you can get, not just in demos and standalone mode, but also just kind of the fact that it's much easier to set things up in standalone mode versus how it is with trying to work your Oculus Quest 2 to work with your PC. Finally, for the last of my standalone experiences, we're going to get to The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. So for those who aren't really too versed with what Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is, it's pretty much a VR game that was pretty much, conceived more towards the lines of the Telltale series, I guess you can say, in regards to what the graphics remind me of, as well as the comic books. It really has nothing to do with the show that was based on the comic book series. So starting off with one thing I really like about this game, which isn't in the gameplay itself, but what happened when I purchased it. So it turns out that when I got my copy of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, it also gave me the PC version of it. I got the standalone version of it, through the Oculus store, but the way it's set up, I guess it's like crossplay or something. So if I wanted to play the game, pretty much download it to my PC, I can do so as well with my Oculus, link to my PC with the Oculus Link cable. Like originally my plan was to get the Steam version of it, but I was like, well, this is like probably gonna be something I really would want to, want Mac to experience if I go and hang out with him over at his house. So I just opted to get the, the standalone version of it, and that's fine. So I can definitely say that Saints and Sinners is definitely probably the most in-depth experience I've had with my Quest 2, like overall, and not just in everything that I played standalone, but also in the PC mode stuff. Like basically the way the game is designed is it really makes you feel like you're in either an episode of the TV show, even though again it's based around like more like a comic interface, and it really does kind of give let's just say the game is actually pretty terrifying. I played my fair share of the Resident Evil series throughout the years, given the fact that it's my favorite video game series, and there has been nothing that I've encountered in the Resident Evil series that probably really stands up to my encounter in Saints and Sinners with my first walker. Like, given the fact that it's all through like a first-person perspective, and compared to you playing like a first-person shooter where you can like turn around really easily with push the joystick, in this one there's like a new level of fear, and you like hearing the zombies like coming up behind you, and you hear them shuffling, you hear them moaning, you hear like their raspy voice and stuff like that. but it kind of like really gives you that feel like they are actually literally right behind you, so you don't want to turn around. And then when they do, grab you, it definitely has like a new level of tension that really can't. That really, like, the Crimson Heads and all this other, stuff like Nemesis and Mr. X I've dealt with in Resident Evil, none of that really feels like it compares to you feeling like you're actually getting attacked by a zombie IRL. Also, anyone on my Twitter page probably knows how immersed I got in this game the other night, seeing as you can see by this tweet right here, I got so into it that I swung at the zombie and actually ended up falling down. So, a little something for those who might have a fear of zombies, or just like who might not really be too keen on scary games in general. Something for you to probably keep in mind, and that this game actually is pretty immersive, like, down to the teeth, pun intended. Like, some of the other cool stuff about it that I really liked was that, like, they have a lot of, like, really in-depth gestures you can do. So, like, let's say, you've got, like, on your left-hand side, you got a knife down there. You reach down and grab the knife like you would in real life, if it was in a holster. And on the right-hand side, you have, like, your firearm that you can pick up. And when you have to shoot it, you literally have to reload, like, the magazine and, and cock it back and such. They also have it where, you can reach over your left-hand side and pull out your backpack and access your inventory from there. Like, if you end up getting damaged, you can pull a bandage out of the backpack and then you wrap it around your arm like you would in real life. It's crazy just how realistic this game is. And it's another one I really feel like is, if you can look past like the $40 price tag it is to get it, since it's not just one of the largest file sizes out of Oculus games, it's like 8 gigs. It also has like one of the more hefty price tags at $40, which I think like there's only one game I've seen is probably more expensive than that, which is Half-Life Alyx. The only issue I had with Saints and Sinners is, like I said earlier when I was talking about Superhot VR, I got a bit motion sick playing it. And this was even when I was in sitting down mode. But that might have actually been like the key issue with it, because the way the game works when you're sitting down is that you have to use the joystick to walk, and you look around with the headset. And I had a similar thing happen when I played Rise of Insanity on my through Steam. So I'm thinking that it might actually be like a combination of those two things. I haven't had any issue with it in any of the games I played that were full on, where I had to move everything and I'd actually walk around. So if anyone gets it and possibly has the same experience, I would say probably trying it out in instead of standing mode, but actual walking mode, like free roam or what you want to call it. And hopefully maybe that will solve the issue for you. Because like I said, I don't know if that was like the cause for it, for me. But I'm thinking that it may be. I still have to test it out and see if it happens again when I'm actually walking around playing it normally instead of sitting down. So now moving onwards, I want to talk to you guys about my experience in PC mode with the Oculus. So the overall setup of getting it to work with my computer was a bit more tedious than me just playing everything in standalone mode, considering the factor that, first off, even after I got everything loaded up with the the Quest Link cable, I still had to go into my settings on my Oculus, and there was a setting on there to enable Quest Link, and that wasn't working originally. So I had to download the Quest app, or the Oculus app, to my desktop, and from there I was able to at least get everything linked. The problem was I wasn't able to do anything with Steam right away, and from there I had to download Steam VR. So hopefully telling you guys like everything I just had to do will kind of like save you a little bit of trouble compared to like how my first time setup process was. I ran into a few issues in regards to everything not running as optimally as I would have liked, but I don't fault this on the cord, even though it was only like a $15 cord. I feel like the fact that it running at all with my computer being somewhat dated with an RX 580 graphics card, and also the motherboard not having like the most optimal USB ports, I still feel for the fact that it ran as good as it did was really a boon to like the quality of this cord, even compared to like the $50 or $80 official Oculus Link cord out there. The worst issue I really had, again, there was like a little bit of pixelation, but it wasn't anything really extremely noticeable. The main problem I had was with some of the games I played, it seemed like the head tracking was off. Like, if I took the headset off of my head, for just a few seconds, and it pretty much, went into its little phase where it, like, blackens out the screen. When I put it back on, like, originally what I was looking at prior, like, the options menu and whatever would be behind me, as if they're trying to say that I somehow turn a complete 180 in my chair, if that makes any sense. But again, I feel like that's just more of an oversight, and that once I can get my computer upgraded, hopefully those issues wouldn't happen. But other than that, like my time playing Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, Phasmophobia, Rise of Insanity, not counting motion sickness for that one, all those experiences actually were still really good. Namely, even for games that normally aren't VR only. The problem with Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion I had, though, was that it doesn't actually support VR controllers. It was a completely different experience for those who played Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. It started off differently in that I was actually outside of Spooky's mansion in itself, and I took like another route in. But I was having issues with actually playing it since you have to use your keyboard and all that, and basically play the game like normal, with more or less the only thing that's changed is the fact that instead of you using your mouse to move around and like to basically, look around you, you're using the headset. Phasmophobia, I honestly have never played Phasmophobia before this, and even still, my time spent playing in VR was just mostly me just kind of hanging out in the lobby, seeing like how, good the graphics were in VR and seeing how good the tracking was. And, it ran at a very smooth frame rate. Like, it was really, solid, even again with my USB cord, like not, running on less than optimal USB ports. It still ran very stably, like at a full, I guess, it felt like 60 frames per second, or whatever the maximum was. Either way, whatever the frame rate it was running at, it was doing so without any choppiness. And so I really am excited to play Phasmophobia, like at one point on stream using VR. Excited more for the fact of knowing that my viewers will hopefully enjoy it, but I'm not really excited about like just how much I'm probably gonna get spooked in the process. Now, like I said, Rise of Insanity, I don't know if really a lot of people really know about this particular game, but it's another horror title, and like I said, it's one that actually made me literally sick when I was playing it, but not because the game was terrible or anything. The game actually was gorgeous, but it's just the fact that when I was trying to play it, again, like when I was playing The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners in seated mode, I had to use the, for moving around, I had to use the thumbsticks on my Oculus controllers, and that in a combination of me like moving around my head just kind of like, created like, this whole motion sick, this really, let's just say it wasn't a pleasant feeling. So before I get back in and try to dive back into Rise of Insanity anytime in the future, I want to check on there and see if the VR mode for that has any kind of, getting up and, like a standing mode for it, similar to The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, because otherwise I don't know if I'll actually be able to play that one. So in that sense, that's really was one of the only true negatives I had to, VR mode in these games that weren't normally VR games. So after I went in and got somewhat of a gauge on just how well my Oculus would run in PC mode with my computer, I went on and got a few more Steam games for it, that were purely VR games, and I'm going to tell you guys about experience with those now as well, at least as far as the ones I played. So overall, I would say that my experience in the PC mode with Oculus Quest 2 probably hasn't been as good as everything in standalone, because standalone mode just felt a lot more stable, but at the same time, everything that I've thrown at the Quest 2 still held up pretty well, all things considered, while it was tethered to the PC. Like, I, had, like, really good experiences with I Expect You to Die, A Fisherman's Tale, Richie's Plank Experience, which was actually a pretty, terrifying little romp onto the top of a skyscraper and, and hanging out on top of a plank. $15, I would suggest you guys definitely, try that one out as well. But overall, I really do feel that once I get, upgrades to my computer, namely a new graphics card, and get a much needed update to my motherboard as well, I feel like the experience will probably be 100% improved. But this is like something to kind of say that if you don't really have like the most updated motherboard, it still is possible to play this in PC mode as long as you got like at least somewhat of a passable graphics card. It still works, but obviously in PC mode there can definitely be like a lot of room of improvement for me. But once all that comes, once I get some upgrades, I'll be doing an updated video, kind of like letting you guys know exactly how everything worked in, possibly even with like some video footage if I can figure out how to display my VR on my computer screen. So even with everything that's been absolutely amazing in these past 5 days I've had my Quest 2, there are definitely some gripes here and there. Some of these that I know some of you are probably definitely going to agree with me on, and some you may not have even had any issue with yourself, but they're all things I'm going to be addressing, with the most obvious one being saved for last. So the first issue I want to talk about is the battery, and it's not for the same reason I know some others have talked about in regards to the life of the battery not really being the longest, because I know some people have said it's an improvement over, I think, the previous Quest. So my issue in itself lies with the fact not of the, the life of the battery. I don't really mind that too much. I haven't really had much issues with the battery life. For me, it's more along the lines of I'll be sitting down watching stuff on big screen, or I'll be playing a game and the battery will still be going down even though I have it on a charger. And I think that what the developers said is that basically what happens is it slows the battery down, so it's not draining as fast while you got it on a charger, but at the same time it doesn't charge back up, which I feel is, it's not the end of the world on that. It's not really the worst issue that I've encountered. I just feel like it would have been nice to at least have it where whatever the percentage of the battery is at when you put it on a charger while you're playing something, at least somehow will stay static. But I also feel at the same time that's kind of an unfair assessment for me to make, because different games, of course, are going to take different amounts of, probably like, take different amounts of resources from the Quest 2, the same with like, different apps would. So not insanely terrible, negative, but still it's something that is kind of frustrating, because it would be nice just to have, things set up kind of like how it is with Nintendo Switch. You can have that on a charger and the battery won't go down while you're playing, and so you can get like infinite amounts of playtime with it. I just wish that was something you could do with the Quest 2 as well. So my next issue doesn't exactly involve any of the physical capabilities with the Quest 2, but more along the lines of something that I wish would have been shipped alongside it, upon being manufactured, which is some form of lens protection. Obviously, with any headset, the most important but also most fragile part of it is the lenses. It's everything that takes you into the world that you're visiting through VR. So, when you're playing, think about how things are if you get like some oil from your skin on the lens and it kind of breaks the immersion. Now double that up with what would happen if a speck of dust caused an irreversible scratch on the lens. This is something that's very much avoidable in the sense of just going and buying yourself a lens cover. I just feel like this is something that probably was a shoe-in for the Quest 2 to come packaged with. I mean, again, this is like another somewhat more minor gripe about a major potential issue, in that, if anyone, gets VR and their lenses get scratched up, it's going to completely break the immersion and just take away from, the whole purpose of the virtual reality headset in the first place. Thankfully, that particular problem, as well as the next one I'm going to talk about, are both things that can be addressed with a pair of accessories that I'll be talking to you guys about in a minute. So, headset strap. Yeah, I think you guys know where I'm about to go with this one. So something else that I've noticed seems to be a pretty common issue among Quest 2 users, is that after a while it gets pretty uncomfortable to wear the headset. And given my experience personally with the Quest 2, and the fact that this issue is also affecting me as well, I really do feel that the problem is that the headset itself, in comparison to the strap that's attached to, isn't properly balanced. I feel that this is something that could have been addressed if there was some kind of maybe a weight or something attached to the headset on the back, so that way, like, it will at least give like sort of like a counterweight to it. I just feel like that would have been like a really easy fix overall. Now, I know it sounds like I'm being overly critical, and maybe in some ways I am, but I just feel like the whole factor of having, this headset, even though it only weighs like maybe 1 or 2 pounds, give or take, there's absolutely nothing, at the back of the head to counter the weight. So the fact that the Quest 2 was manufactured, with this design, I feel like it was somewhat impractical, and that it's something that they probably could have improved on during manufacturing. Because during playtests, you can't tell me that there weren't people that were having like, some degree of discomfort, because of this. But like the issue I spoke of with the lenses, this is something that can be addressed pretty easily with an add-on I'll be talking to you guys about in a few. Finally, we're getting to the big elephant in the room that has been pretty much the main issue that I think most everyone has had as far as the Oculus Quest 2 is concerned. That, of course, is the requirement of a Facebook account. So obviously, one of the key reasons why this is an issue is the fact that it shouldn't even be happening to begin with. But the main issue in regards to the whole Facebook account requirement is that back when the Quest 2 had first launched, a lot of people were getting their Facebook accounts banned when they synced their Oculus Quest 2 to it. Like, some were saying that it was happening like right after they made a Facebook account to link to the Quest 2, and others were saying they had their accounts for years and this happened. And I'm kind of like, in the middle on both avenues. Like, I really do feel some of these people may have quite possibly been doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, and it was getting their accounts banned. And at the same time, I feel like there were definitely those who probably weren't doing anything wrong and their accounts were getting banned. But either way, I noticed that the majority of these, reports that's happening, people like going on Reddit saying that this happened to them and so on and so forth, were around the range of October and November. Since then, if you go and like, search, will my account get banned, if I link my Oculus Quest 2 to my Facebook or something similar, you'll notice that the vast majority of these cases happen, like I said, around October and November. So it feels like, it's kind of become more of a rare thing for your Oculus Quest 2 and your Facebook account like to get banned, and so forth, like others have had happen. But I'm not saying it can't happen. I mean, it hasn't happened to me. I'm hoping that it won't happen to me nor any of you who might go out and pick yourself up Oculus Quest 2. But it just does seem like that's not really something you may not need to be as afraid of anymore compared to how it was. Because I believe the Oculus and Facebook have both acknowledged this themselves, that this was a thing that needed to be fixed, and I feel like maybe they did fix it. Like, if people are saying that their account got banned now, it's possibly because they were doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing. So, obviously, like I said, that was like one of the key reasons why people were dreading getting an Oculus Quest 2. Not just because it was, you know, the requirement for his Facebook account, but because people were getting banned seemingly at times for no reason, be it if there actually was a reason for them to probably be banned or not. All that aside, my main gripe with this is just the fact that, again, this really shouldn't have been like, something that needed to happen at all. Like, I feel like it was completely unnecessary for people to have to link their Facebook to the Oculus, even if at one point Facebook had, said that they would never have as a requirement. Even if we throw that out the door, it's still something that never should happen. This might be jumping the shark, me saying this, namely given that none of these examples here are in the concept of the product in question being, or the product or the company in question being owned by the particular social media platform I'm talking about, but I'm still going to stand by the concept of this. You don't have to, have your, your Instagram account linked to your Nintendo Switch to be able to access it. You don't have to have your Snapchat linked to your PS4 to be able to access it. One of the only examples I really feel like it's definitely a requirement for you to have, like, a particular platform you got to account for to be linked to a VR is a key example of that obviously is Oculus and linking your Oculus account to your Quest or Rift or whatever. But obviously another key example would be with, Steam's headsets, like the Vive and the Index and such. But that's at the same time also, these are PC focused headsets, and you're going to be, playing, they're basically through Steam, which is, where you're going to have your games anyway. So I just feel like in the end, having any kind of social media linked to any kind of product you have is, just completely and utterly unnecessary. Because in my time with my Quest 2, I haven't really seen much of anything that, really like has like that shows like a focus on Facebook, other than the fact you can use Messenger on your Quest 2, which I think was a recently added feature. But otherwise, I just feel like it should have been left to where all you had to have was an Oculus account to use the Quest 2. And there was, just no reason whatsoever, I feel, for Facebook to force their users to have to, link their Facebook accounts just to access this $300 headset they purchased. So overall, I feel like it's one of the biggest gripes. Not the end of the world in my view, as long as they keep this stuff under control in regards to accounts getting banned. But I just feel like at the end of the day, it is something that just never should have happened. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the recent add-ons that I purchased for my Quest 2. Given the importance of every single one of these things I'm about to talk to you guys about, and the fact that each of them were cheap, yet still excel in the things that they're supposed to do, possibly even more so for all I know than their more expensive counterparts, like, I could probably never recommend any of this stuff enough, because basically they serve the function of keeping your VR safe, and in regards to one of them, improving the overall comfort while you're wearing the VR, and with yet another one, also probably, I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, improving the immersion experience, while you're using your VR. So first off, I'm going to talk to you guys about this stand that I got right here. So this bad boy right here was only like probably $20 on Amazon, and without a shadow of a doubt, trying to be a little bit delicate. So before I got the stand, what I was doing was I was taking my Quest 2 and putting it back in the box it came in, given that the molds for the headset as well as the controllers did a phenomenal job itself of keeping everything protected. But I wanted something that was more at the ready so that I could have my VR off the desk, but still have it right there available whenever I want to play it without having to just take it back out of the box. So aside from the fact this particular stand was only like $20, and it was in comparison to a lot of other like very similar ones on Amazon, I was drew to this one because of the factor that it had a lens cover for the Quest 2. So this was pretty much me knocking two things out of the way at one time. So normally the lens covers, I think I've seen them run for like $7 to $8, but most of these particular stands were about the same price at around $20. So I really look at it since it was like $20 instead of $28. I took it as me actually getting my lens covers for my Quest 2 for free, more or less. Something I already spoke on was the fact that a lot of people have had issues with the Quest 2 being uncomfortable after wearing it for a while, and I chalked it up to what I feel being that the Quest 2 is improperly weighted in regards to, long-term use. Now, there's options out there in regards to add-ons you can get that pretty much add a completely, new section to your headset. And some of them are like $38, and they have like one that I believe is like the official Oculus Elite headset that's like $50. But I found an alternative to both of those that was only like about $13. And it takes the form of this little piece of rubber right here. Given the fact of how much I love science and physics, I kind of want to take a few moments to talk on how I feel this whole process works. So for further reference, let's say that you're doing an exercise where you're holding your arm up and the weight is like 20 pounds, give or take, just again for reference. And after a while, it starts getting more and more difficult to hold the weight up. So from here, we're going to take a piece of rope that's tied to a branch above you on a tree or whatever, and you tie the rope to the arm as well as the weight. And as you'll probably notice, a lot of that strain ends up getting taken off, but that's simply because the rope is doing the work that the muscles in your arm were originally doing. So in my time basically having like this add-on attached to my headset, it's definitely, helped out like quite a bit. And I think it's literally just because that one little piece right here that forces the back end to contour to your head a little bit more, and it acts as a counterweight. Similar to what I was talking about with my whole rope and weight thing. So again, $13 compared to you paying like $50 for something that relies on a knob and, increasing or decreasing tension, while this one just relies on good old physics to kind of force your head right here to help out as an anchor point instead of forcing the entirety of the front of your head to do all the work. So I mean, obviously, I think it's kind of like a no-brainer on which one to go for, and namely in the sense that, again, I've heard these the Elite headset add-ons are prone to breaking, but this right here is actually made of a pretty, solid, flexible but yet still kind of rigid rubber. So I think this would definitely probably be the best choice, overall for cost and just function all around, just because it was actually really easy for me to just snap on. Another bonus to this is that this little part actually functions in a way where it allows you to put the VR on much easier than normal. Like for me, when I put it on prior to attaching this, I was gripping this right here and just doing like that. But in this one, it actually makes it easier for you to pull it on over your head just by doing like so. So overall, this for $13 I feel was definitely one of the best buys out of everything I picked up. Finally, the last thing I want to talk to you all about in regards to accessories are these earbuds that I picked up off Amazon for about $10. Now, aside from the fact they came in a pretty cool looking carrying case that you can see here, the other thing I like about them is that the end that goes into the headphone jack is actually shorter in regards to the wire's length. So it pretty much means that once you connect it in, it basically just goes right here to your ear, which is of course really convenient, while the other end is longer to where it can stretch around to your other ear. So I just think that's actually a pretty nice design, and as well as the fact that the wires are just so short, you ain't got to worry about tripping over them while you're, toying around with your VR. So overall, for $10, I tried out, this is definitely a really good price. I tried out tried them out during, Epic Roller Coaster earlier, and sound quality is solid. It's not the best, especially, compared to, other earbuds that I've used over the years. And I think that the Quest 2 may have some form of, I believe it's in a beta phase, I can't recall, but I think it's got 7.4 Bluetooth, so technically speaking, I could probably try using my Raycons that I picked up from my friend Mac recently as a gift. But at the same time, these just feel convenient, considering the fact all I gotta do is just plug them in, and it seems like they actually just really, do a really good solid job of canceling out most noise. So yeah, in regards to make sure you don't, don't annoy any of your roommates and just get a much more immersive experience with whatever it is that you're playing or watching, definitely would suggest these. Like I said, $10. Link for these in the description, just like everything else I just mentioned as far as all my add-ons are concerned. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was definitely something new for me, and that while I have done, similar things before in regards to unboxing reviews, such as loot crates and, other subscription boxes, this was a bit different because I had to pretty much go through and give my opinion on something that took a lot more time, to be in depth with in regards to giving a proper review of it. But in the end, if you're able to look past some of the oversights in regards to the Quest 2, such as the mandatory Facebook account linking and some other problems such as the battery and everything, it's definitely a really good first, step into VR, one that I've highly enjoyed. And I really can't wait to hopefully share my experiences, with this, through live stream somewhere in the future. So anyways, until next video, Rogues, much love. Thank you guys for watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Catch you later.